let's just run through some of the things, the way we're going to handle each class, okay, or each week. Each week we're going to cover approximately 2 chapters, okay? And for each chapter, I'm going to ask you to read a section of the text, perhaps 2 sections, and then take what I'm calling micro quizzes. Rather than having one large quiz at the end of each chapter, I'm breaking it down into very small, maybe 5 questions, just to immediately reinforce the material that you've just read, okay? So I'm estimating about 35 micro quizzes. We're going to be trying to cover 12 chapters. It's a 6-week session. The 12 chapters, each chapter approximately 3, probably 2 to 4. Those chapters that I think are more important, you'll have perhaps more frequent micro quizzes. Obviously, chapter 1, the introductory chapter, there's one section that I consider to be really important. So you'll probably only have 2 micro quizzes for chapter 1. Okay. You'll be doing 5 lab preps. I call them lab preps because they're exercises that I've chosen. They're going to prepare you to do some of the labs from the problem-solving text. Okay. So the way I think you have a couple of those due Sunday at midnight. So you'll be doing those, and once you have completed those, then at least the ones for Access, you'll be ready to tackle some of the Access projects. Okay. Likewise for Excel, I've already put together some exercises for you in Excel. They'll come a little later in the semester, mid-June, I think, and you'll be doing those to prepare you to do the cases, the Excel cases. Okay. We're going to have 2 exams, a midterm exam and a final exam. Midterm exam will cover chapters 1 through 6. It'll be at the midpoint. I currently have it scheduled, I believe, for June 9th, which is a Monday. Okay. If you already know that you're going to have a conflict on that day, please contact me as soon as possible and we can change that. There's no problem. I've got a little bit of flexibility there. But the fact is that we're going to have just one midterm. It's a 100-point midterm, and then a 150-point final exam. The final exam is cumulative, meaning it's going to cover the entire course. However, 100 of the 150 points will be covering the material chapters. I guess it would be 7 through 14. There are a couple of chapters in there that we'll skip, but approximately the 6 chapters, the last 6 chapters of the course. And then 50 points will be primarily from the previous material. Okay, just again to make sure that you've retained something at the end of the session. Okay. The last thing we're going to be doing in this class is you will be doing a research paper for me. And we'll get started with that about halfway through the session with about, I think, 4 weeks. I'm sorry. Yeah, about 4 weeks. So I think 2 or 3 weeks in. It's in the schedule. I don't have the schedule in front of me offhand. But one thing you're going to do is you're going to select a company. In that company, you're going to apply some of the things we'll be talking about really in Chapter 1. And then you're going to be exploring some use that they have of information systems. Okay. You'll be turning in 2 versions of the paper. First, you'll submit a draft, probably 2 weeks before the end of the semester. I will critique the draft. It will be submitted through SafeAssign so that you can check and see whether any plagiarism has been detected. We do take that very seriously. If it turns out that you're fine in that regard, great. If it turns out that it's flagging some things, you may want to go back and fix those. Plus, I'll kind of critique it and say, well, this is interesting, but it would have been nice if you talked about this other thing a bit more. Okay? You get my critique. Then based on that, you might have to do a little additional research, and then you'll turn in the final version of your research paper. Okay? All together, both the draft and the final version together is another 100 points for the course, and of course that's covered in the syllabus. Okay. Okay, one thing that I'm going to be implementing this summer. And I'll go ahead and admit now, y'all are guinea pigs. There are quite a few things that we're trying this summer, we being me, in terms of trying to engage students. Okay. So one thing that I'm doing is I'm going to be using what's called adaptive release assignments. And what this means is that for certain assignments, there's going to be a sequence of things that you need to do. And as you accomplish these things, more items are opened up to you on Blackboard. Now, conceivably, what this means is you could, once everything is loaded into Blackboard, you could just close your bedroom door, call out for a couple of pizzas, and you could just have a 24-hour marathon and blast through pretty much the entire course. Now, I wouldn't recommend that, but it's possible. Okay, so the key is, along the way, doing reasonably well with each of the different things you're going to need to be doing. Okay, so for instance, for Chapter 1, I might say, well, go ahead and review these study notes, read this section of the text, and then take this micro quiz. Now, the key is the micro quiz is going to require, I'm going to set them up to where you are required to score at least a 70%, at least a C. Okay. If it turns out that you don't, you can retake the micro quiz until you get the questions right. Now, the questions will be coming from, they'll be randomly chosen from test banks. So if you take the micro quiz again, you might not get the exact same questions. Okay, you might, but then again, you might not. Okay, so you'll continue this until you get a score of at least 70 by whatever due date is set for that micro quiz. Okay. Once you've done that, it's going to open up another facet on Blackbook. It might be an assignment, it might be some notes, it might be something like that. But this way, I'm hoping to kind of guide you through the process. Okay. There will be some videos. Obviously, I'm going to make some videos to explain some things that you're going to be reading that I think are particularly important and that you can pretty much count on being on the exam. I might also just grab some things off of YouTube and say, hey, read this and then let's talk about it a little bit. Okay. So anyway, I'm fully aware that this is experimental. If things go south, if things go wrong, we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out, but we really shouldn't have any problems. Okay. Again, going down through the and I'm kind of pacing through the syllabus. Now, I'm not covering all the detail. You really should read the syllabus on your own. Make sure that you understand it. Make sure you don't have any questions for me. Speaking of the syllabus, I've already posted an extra credit survey that I would like for you to do. You have until Thursday night at midnight, or 11:59 p.m. That's probably going to be our only extra credit opportunity for the summer session. Frankly, I typically give extra credit for perfect attendance, but in an online environment, perfect attendance doesn't really mean much. Okay, so I encourage you to do that. I'll ask you some questions about what's your infrastructure like, what kind of perhaps a little bit of personal contact information so I can contact you, by phone or by Skype or something like that. Okay. So we've talked about the micro quizzes. We've talked some about exams, attendance. We've talked about plagiarism. We are going to check, make sure that there are any other kind of academic integrity. I'll go ahead and say now that each and every assignment is an individual assignment. There is no group work in this course. So if I see anything that suggests there's been group work, I may have to look into it further, and I hope it doesn't come to that. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the schedule. Okay, and if you have your syllabus in front of you, you can kind of look through this. Again, what's essentially tomorrow night, 11:59, the email survey. I've already sent that out to you. Originally, I had assignments set up for midnight on Sunday, and then I was changing some things. So instead of there being piecemeal assignments through each week, you just need to be on top of things, and you need to go ahead and pace yourself, get the work done, but you're going to have blocks of assignments that are going to be due once a week. Okay, so you'll be submitting things to me, not counting that email survey. You're going to have 6 due dates. Okay. The first due date is actually Monday, May 26th. It was originally Sunday, May 25th, and then it occurred to me that, well, there's Memorial Day. Perhaps you're going to be doing things on Memorial Day weekend. So I went ahead and extended it to Monday at midnight for the first assignment. Okay, you're going to be doing a couple of lab preps on SAM, and then you're going to be doing micro quizzes from Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and also I'll be posting assignments for you. Okay, the way it'll work is, now let me go back for just a moment and talk again about the adaptive release. The SAM work and the labs is not included in that. Okay, this is just the work that's associated with the MIS textbook that's going to be on adaptive release, just to clarify things for you. Okay. You also notice that if you look at the schedule, that I'm wanting to schedule essentially a chat session. Let me scroll this over. I've tentatively scheduled them for 7:30 p.m. every Thursday night. If that's going to be a problem, please email me. Let me know, and I can adjust that. But in fact, there'll probably be a situation where we're not having to really get together, but I'll make sure that I'm available. So if you want to contact me through Skype or something, I'll be available 7:30 until, say, 8:30 on what is our main computer. Okay. Because I think most of our interaction is going to be either you sending me emails, and I'll be putting together some of these videos to communicate concepts to you. Okay. So I'll ensure that I'm available 7:30 to 8:30 Thursday nights via Skype if you want to contact me. Okay. So there you have it. It should be a fun course in some ways. It will require some hard work. Okay. I know at least a couple of you, I think, are IS majors, and that's great. A couple others might be so interested in the material after we're done. I'm hoping maybe you'll change your concentration in your major to IS. Certainly in the first chapter, and I'll be creating another video about the first chapter, there is some discussion about career paths. Okay, and we can talk just a little bit about that. I'll leave that mostly to your reading. But anyway, until next time, have a great start to the summer session, and I'll see you soon.